Studio on the road. We're live right now at Ilegal Mezcal headquarters in Greenpoint, Brooklyn with the Secret Trio. Guys, thank you for joining us, man. We appreciate it very much.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah. So we're about to hear a very broad range of your songs across the entire catalog, including brand new stuff. What do you feel like doing first today?
I think what we'll do first is a song called Worm, and we're going to do it and dedicate it to Becca Stevens because she likes this one.
All right. Man, on that false ending, I was like less than half a second away from starting to clap and just ruining it for everybody. Man, that sounded great, dude. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Thank you.
So you mentioned this was dedicated to Becca, who's a lovely person, a lovely musician. And can you talk a little bit about where you fit into the ground up music community with Michael, with Becca, with everybody? I mean, there's just so much incredible talent and so much diverse talent in that. Family is the right word for it, man. Everyone's just great. I love them personally, I love them professionally, and all that stuff. Where do you fit into that, and sort of how have they helped to amplify what you do, and just like cross-pollination and other artists you've been able to work with through that family?
Yeah, we love them too, and the way we met is that Ismail and Tamer, they have a group called the New York Gypsy All-Stars, and they were playing down at the Ground Up Festival in Miami. And they thought, well, if we bring Ara also, we could do a secret trio set, which we did late at night. And Becca happened to catch that set and was moved to the point where she asked us if we would make a recording with her. And I mean, beyond the fact that she's obviously a great singer, musician, and composer, she's a wonderful person, as you mentioned. And we just kind of blended very well together. There's a mutual respect, but now it's getting to the point where we like to be with each other, and the music is kind of easy. It's worked really good, and for us, she will expose us to an audience that we would, with these instruments, have a hard time reaching. But now maybe they'll be able to check us out, and at the same time, we're going to expose her to audiences that she might not have been able to reach. And already she's started to sing some of our pieces in some ethnic languages also. So we're really looking forward to a nice future with her.
Good, man. And I mean, you can tell the way that music expresses itself when it came from an organic place. Like there's no sort of forced nature about it that you said, all right, this artist seems like it makes sense to collaborate with. It just happened organically, and it comes across in the way you play. And it's, I mean, yeah, the coolest thing about Ground Up to me is that I get to be introduced to a lot of brand new artists that I wouldn't necessarily say, all right, Spotify, I want this kind of music. It's just I trust that everything that happens within that family is going to be absolutely wonderful, and they've never let me down. So we're very happy that you guys are here today, and there's a lot more, man. What do you guys want to do second?
So this next piece that we'll do is a piece called Hakim Bey. It was written by a incredible, iconic singer and composer, Sezen Aksu. somebody else going to play that song? Or
Yeah, Gogol Bordello just did play that song, actually, so it's the second time. But we appreciate your version also. It sounded really good. I want to know a bit more about the instruments themselves. I mean, I'm familiar with clarinet. I'm familiar-ish with oud. I'm not at all familiar with kanun.
Kanun, yeah.
Can you tell me a bit more about all of the instruments, but kanun in particular?
Well, let's start with the clarinet. Actually, this is not the typical B-flat clarinet. It's actually a G clarinet. Is that right, Ismail?
Yes. So it's a G clarinet. It's basically called Turkish clarinet. It's known as the Turkish clarinet, and it's usually on Albert system, which is the German system, and it's played in Turkey mainly. But now they start to use it in the Balkans, and it starts to get a more prominent position in the clarinet world.
And yours is not ebony. So
This is boxwood, yes, and it's made by Aydan Akineri, a clarinet maker from Turkey, Izmir.
Does it break out of the clarinet world and into the world of pop music in the Balkans? Is Balkan pop, does it use that instrument, or is it more compartmentalized to not pop music?
It's specially used, I think you can use it in any kind of genre, but it's especially used by Romani people, generally in the Balkan, or Gypsy, as we recognize it. But it's getting a little wider recognition as we speak. Because I like the sound, it's a little more, it's deeper, it's a lot more difficult to play it. Basically, that's the issue here. Because you have to, it's very wide. Between the holes, you have to widen your fingers. It's not like this, but it's like more like this. So technically, you're a little bit more limited when you have this kind of structure on the clarinet.
You don't sound limited to me.
Right. Well, I have practiced a lot.
Okay.
Yeah, dude, it sounds great out here, man. You're doing really well.
I'm playing an instrument called the oud. It's considered the grandfather of the guitar. It's fretless. That's why we play those what may sound as out of tune, but if the three of us play out of tune together, then it sounds in tune. So yeah, a lot of the music and even our modern compositions are based on this ancient microtonal modal system, along with some odd time signatures that you'll hear a little later. And Tamer is playing an instrument called the kanun, as you mentioned. Kanun from the word canon, meaning law. And it's approximately 76 strings, but and in triplicate. But with each string, there are movable bridges up to how many? How many bridges?
Nine
up to 9 bridges. So we're not talking half tones, quarter tones, eighth. We're talking 16th tones. And if you don't mind demonstrating that, Tamer. So each one of those is a separate note on this instrument.
On the same string?
On the same string.
Yeah.
So you may think, wait a minute, these instruments are ancient and simple. Look how complicated that is. Where a piano will have a distance of, a half tone, this has 6 or 7 intervals in between those 2 notes.
Literally
on the piano.
infinite tones.
It could be
just
infinite,
depending on
yeah.
where
So
it
it's
happens to land that day.
It's quite complex, and of course he has to change the bridge before he hits the note. So he has to think in advance.
While he's playing,
Right.
he's just changing the bridge,
Oh, yeah.
hitting the notes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Unless there's a song that only uses 8 notes, which there isn't. Of course, he's constantly
which
flipping.
Tamer doesn't like.
Yeah,
He wants to change.
He wants to
yeah,
change
yeah.
all.
So it's pretty incredible. And what also should be noted is that for 1,000 years, this instrument was played with picks on the 2 pointer fingers. Tamer discarded those picks, grew his nails, and is playing with 10 fingers. It's kind of a revolution of technique, and that's why you hear not just speed, but you hear harmony, arpeggios, rhythm, all kinds of things that previously were really not part of this instrument.
I'm sorry, off camera, he's playing with his nails?
He's playing with his nails. Yeah.
So my closest frame of reference to this instrument is hammered dulcimer. We did, Max House of Waters.
Yeah.
And yeah, they're part of the Ground Up family also. Does it have any common lineage with hammered dulcimer, or is it a
No, it's a
completely
different-
separate instrument?
Yeah, it's a different instrument. Totally different. Yeah.
Well, it sounds wonderful. Thank you for the information, man. We appreciate it. We appreciate
Sure.
the music also. And there's a lot more of it, man. What do you guys want to do third today?
So, being that we're talking about the canon, let's do one of Tamer's pieces, a piece that he wrote for his grandson. It's called Lucien.
Yeah?
You want to do Luciano?
Oh, I'm sorry. No. Oh, no. I'm sorry. Let's do Crosswinds. Another one of Tamer's pieces. I'm so sorry. Yes, a piece by Tamer called Crosswinds. Sorry.
Right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Man, when you're talking about microtones and abrupt meter changes, is it notated the way that I'm accustomed to seeing notations, 5 lines, bass clef, treble clef, some numbers, or is there a different, maybe more efficient way to notate? Are you communicating differently from that, or do you write out sheet music in the way that I know sheet music?
Well, I mean, during the composition process, nobody's thinking about notation, and Tom Edit will bring a piece and say, hey, I'm working on this thing, it's like this, or I might have something, or Ismail. But when it comes time to notate microtones, there are established symbols, a backwards flat, 3/4 of a sharp. There's various different symbols to indicate those things that have been standardized. So, we throw them in there, yeah.
So it is the same system that I'm accustomed to, but with some symbols that I'm probably not.
Yes, exactly. Yes.
When it comes to, have you guys always done the secret trio, or have you added more ensemble members or played with a larger group where you've had to hand that notation to them and say, there you go, good luck with this, or has it always been the 3 of you?
No, each one of us has played in infinite number of variations of instrumentation and personnel, and both together, him and me and him and him and I mean, every possible combination, and now with Becca Stevens even.
But with the secret trio, we have not played with another ensemble as a whole, but we have played with a symphonic orchestra in Germany. We have done a concert with orchestra where we had arrangements and wrote the music for them. But it was more like a company rather than, there were some solo lines that they had to do, but mostly a company.
Did that translate relatively smoothly when you hand them that notation? Did they automatically know what that means, or is there a learning curve for a German symphony to say microtones, there you go, good luck?
Yeah, but I think microtones are now recognized in the classical world as well. I mean, the contemporary classical world has a lot of notation and specific specific notation for microtones and stuff like that. But I mean, I think it was kind of easy for most of the stuff, and there were some specific things that were difficult or impossible to make at that moment. But I think generally was doable, and we had a great time. I think. I mean, playing with the full symphony and playing our music was just wonderful.
Yeah, that sounds.
It kind of reminds me of Frank Zappa trying to do his orchestral music. If you had an unlimited budget, meaning 3 weeks of rehearsals, then you could work out all of these things. But when you only have 1 or 2 rehearsals, you try to simplify it and stay away from certain things that might be, a challenge.
Right. So those impossibilities that you mentioned, that's just based on time constraints, or is that based on instrument limitations? It's literally not possible, or is it just the amount of time that's available?
I think it was time constrained.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's just that.
Nice. Well, thank you I've learned a lot today. I appreciate it, and I'm enjoying this a lot. And there's still one more song coming up. What do you feel like doing last today?
So this last piece is a piece that I wrote for a very precocious and talented student that I had, a young girl who seemed to be able to play anything I threw in front of her, and I started to feel a little guilty taking her money. So I tried to compose a piece that was beyond her ability. And apparently it was not, because she sight read it, and now we're going to see if we can play it. It might be beyond our ability, but it's it's called For Alexis.
Love it.
Yeah.
dude, good for you guys for playing that well. Good for Alexis for sight reading that. Sounds tremendous. We really appreciate the music and the knowledge and everything about this, man. Thank you guys for coming by
Thanks
today.
for hosting us. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
All right. See you next time.
Bye-bye.
All right. And that is that.